Have you been kicking around triathlon or trying to become a triathlete or transitioning into becoming a triathlete? If so, and you think that it's been hard or you're just scared to take the plunge, then this video is for you. Alright guys, thanks for joining the video. A couple of things I just wanted to talk about. So I've been on this triathlon journey for the past 11 months. December of 2019 is when I started triathlon. The reason why I transitioned is because coming from a weightlifting background, I was looking for something a little bit more challenging. I was tired of hitting the weights all the time, and I just wanted something different. I wanted something a little bit more challenging. So I saw some videos, was on YouTube, and I saw some triathletes. And I've known about triathlon for a long time, but it was something that I wasn't too. I was scared. I'll be honest with you, I was scared. I didn't think that was something that I would be able to do. But December 2019, I ripped the Band-Aid off and I dove right in and I started. And I just kind of want to share my experiences so far, 11 months, or about 10 months into this journey, of kind of what I have experienced and kind of some of the things that I probably would have done differently starting if I was to start fresh, knowing what I know now. So I kind of want to cover that down today and talk to you briefly about some of the pains. And if you're kicking a tire about starting to become a triathlete, as far as the gear, how to get started, the nutrition plan, the training plans, the swimming, the running, the cycling, then we're going to break it down Barney style. So first off, I was lost in the sauce when I first started this. I was reading a lot of internet web pages. I was looking at different YouTube channels and different YouTube videos, how to become a triathlete, triathlons for dummies. I was watching every YouTube video that was out there. And as I started to progress and get into this journey in this, becoming a triathlete and getting further into triathlon, the pieces started to come together. Now, you don't need the most expensive bike to start off with, starting into triathlon. You don't need the most expensive shoes. You don't need the most expensive equipment, period. But you do need functional equipment. So some of the things that I think that is important for a beginning triathlon or a beginning triathlete, I'm going to say number one is probably the shoes for running. So I'm just going to give you an example. I'm not sponsored by Nike. This is not affiliated with Nike at all. However, I do love these Nike Vaporfly Zooms shoes. I have put a lot of miles on these shoes. I have about 150 miles on these shoes so far, and these have been phenomenal. And also a recent pair that I just bought, again, not affiliated with Hoka One One. However, just got these shoes. These are my most brand new shoes that I've received, and I absolutely love these shoes. So if you're going to invest in some quality shoes, I highly recommend a shoe that fits you. Find out something that is going to fit your foot, because you could watch and read so much information about shoes, but until you try them on, until you physically run in them, there's a trial and error in running as far as your proper gait, your width, your strike, all of that comes into your foot plant for actually propelling yourself to run. So what might work for me might not work for you, and what has worked for others didn't work for me. So get out and try and see exactly what type of shoes work for you, so you can see what is the best bet and what you can really invest in. Next up is the bike. Bikes to train for cycling can be very expensive. You can get yourself a good entry-level bike like I did for just under $1,000. You can probably even get them a little cheaper than that. What I would say to you is utilize what you have available to you first. If you have a bicycle, if you have a road bike, whether it be an 8-speed, 11-speed, a 12-speed, and it is a baseline bike, I would use that first and kind of get into just the mechanics of proper cycling. Get a bike fit, know how that bike fits and works for you, and really understand the mechanics of riding. It's not just get on a bike and you just pedal and go. It is 100% way more involved, not complicated, but more involved than just getting on a bike and riding 10 miles, 12 miles, 20 miles, 30 miles. So find out a bike that works for you. If you don't have one, if you already have a bike, I would highly suggest that you bring it to your local bike shop and either A, have it tuned up if you haven't rode it in a while, or go for a bike fit, which I just received a bike fit for me last month, and I tell you what, it has made a huge difference in my response on my entry-level bike that I have. The bike that I'm riding now is a Trek Domane AL2, and it is an 8-speed. It's a Shimano Claris drivetrain, which is the baseline, bottom line Shimano drivetrain that you're going to have. I am looking to upgrade into a new bike just because I've been into this for about a year now, and I want to get faster. I think I have pushed my bike to the limit of what I need to do and what I want to do. So I'm looking to kind of shell out some more money and to buy that next step bike. But bikes go all the way up to several $1,000s. But don't feel burdened that you have to buy the best. I mean, even if you're going to compete in a race, you don't need to have the best bike out there. When you go into transition, you'll see so many different bikes out there that are entry level, and that's okay. Make sure that this is something that you really want to do before you really invest in that bike. Next thing I want to say is a good pair of goggles. So right here, these are the Magic 5 goggles. These are custom fit to your face. Again, I am not affiliated with Magic 5. They're not sponsoring this video. However, I have trial and error with several other goggles, and I have experienced fogging. I have experienced loose seal around my eyes. I have gotten water in my eyes when I've been in the water swimming, and I have wanted to invest in something that was a lot better. So the Magic 5, I really love those goggles. They don't have to be on as tight, no water, they don't fog, and they're really, really good set of goggles. So it's something that I really enjoyed, and think they're a good set of goggles on the market. So not to say that you want to invest in a great pair of goggles, but invest yourself in a decent pair of goggles to avoid the nuances of water getting in your eyes when you're in the pool, and also them fogging up, because a lot of the goggles that you buy on the shelf, some are good, but you're going to get some ones that are baseline again, and they're might cause you some problems moving forward. So really do some research when it comes to goggles, and again, just like the bike and the running shoes, find out what works best for you. Another critical piece of gear is a watch, a Garmin watch, or some type of device that you can track your swim, your bike, and your run. I use the Garmin 735 XT, and it is not the top of the line Garmin watch that's out there, and it's not the lowest line of the watch that's out there, but it works for me, and it is a good watch that I enjoy. I like it. It has triathlon settings in it, so when I am competing in a race, I have the ability to set my watch and actually monitor my swim, and then in the transition, and then monitor my bike, and then in the transition, and then monitor my run all the way to the finish line, and then it'll put all those together for me. So I like the watch. It feeds right into my training plans, which I'll get into shortly, and really kind of keeps you accountable for your training, which is I really like. It monitors your heart rate as well, which I'm a huge proponent of monitoring heart rate. I like to see where my heart rate's at all times. So the Garmin 735 XT, not sponsored by Garmin. They're not sponsoring this video. However, it is a watch that I really like, and it's a middle baseline Garmin watch. Again, there's ones that are below it, and there's definitely several ones that are higher, but I like this one. Next up is a good pair of socks. It is very, very important that if you're going to be putting many miles in your shoes, on your feet, running, training, you want to make sure that you have a good pair of socks. Something that's moisture wicking, to where it's going to pull some of the moisture away from your foot. It's going to keep your foot somewhat dry, although in the summertime when you're running and it's humid, it's very hard to do that. But when you have the ability to pull that moisture away, a good pair of socks will do that. So do some research. I have several types of socks that I use. Bayleaf is one of the socks companies that I use that I really like. They're comfortable, they're cushioned, they're soft. They don't have any issues with my feet as far as friction in the shoe, and also in the when I'm running. So really do some research again. Look at some of the socks that are out there, and you can spend as much money as you want on socks, and you can spend very minimal money on socks. But again, find out, do the research, find out exactly what works for you, and it's a trial and error as well. What worked, or what you thought might work, or what worked for me might not work for you. So let's talk about training plans. But when I first started, I created my own training plan. Being that I've been a weightlifter, I've been strength training pretty much my entire life. Came to the mindset of triathlon was I can do this on my own. I don't need to pay for a coach. I don't need to pay for a training plan. I know how to train and I know what to do, and I can do this on my own. Well, I'm here to tell you that that was not a very successful plan for myself. I felt that I tried it for a month. I wrote out all my own training plan, and then what I did was I did a baseline sprint level triathlon at the base of my training, at the end of my training, for about a month, 45 days. And I can tell you, the training plan that I wrote for myself was not successful, and I was not successful when I did that sprint level triathlon or sprint distance triathlon. So I would highly encourage you to invest in a training plan. What I use, I have a login with Training Peaks, and there are training plans out there for several distance triathlons, whether it be a sprint, Olympic, a half, a 70.3, and a full Ironman. And some of the training plans are crazy expensive, and then some of them are pretty reasonable. So what I would say is that find out what works best for you. Find out what works best for your family. Find out what works best to fit in triathlon into your current plan and how you live right now. Because what you don't want to do is put yourself into a predicament to where your training plan is now dictating how you live your life, and that's not something that you want to do. So you want to make sure that your training plan is not eating up all your time, all your family time, all the time away from work. Because if you're, you know the old saying, happy wife, happy life, that's 100% accurate, 100% true. So make sure that there's family time, there's work time, and also there's training time. So get on Training Peaks. I highly recommend Training Peaks. There are some other entities out there. Training Peaks is just the one that I use. And find out again which works for you, and really come to a mindset and say, these are the hours that I physically can afford to train for a week, whether it be 5 to 8 hours, whether it be 12 to 16 hours, whether it be 18 to 24 hours for an Ironman distance race. Those are some of the hours that you can kind of look at and see what works best for you. So trainingpeaks.com, not affiliated with Training Peaks, but I do love how they set the training plan for you when you purchase it. And it literally tells you day by day. Monday's a day off, Tuesday's a bike, Wednesday's a swim, Thursday is a brick. I mean, it lays out everything that you need in accordance with the training plan that you had purchased. So take a look at it. Find out which works best for your family and your work schedule and your life schedule, and plug that training plan into your life and how it works. Let's talk about nutrition. Nutrition is a critical part, probably more so than any piece of gear that you're going to buy. You know, you can buy a high-speed pair of shoe, this Hoka One Clifton 7, high speed, great shoe. But if I'm not fueled, if I'm not nutrition, if I don't have the proper nutrition in my body, if I'm not 100% functioning due to what is in my body for fuel, then I'm not going to perform at all. And I can have the most expensive shoe. I can have the Vaporfly 4% Nike, the most expensive shoe that's out there right now. I can have that shoe. And if my nutrition plan, if my supplement plan is not on point, then I am not going to be able to perform in those high-level shoes. So as critical as the training plan is, I think the nutrition plan is as critical as the training plan. And here's why. You could be coming from a background like I was with muscle strength training and really understanding macro intake, calorie in, calorie out deficit, and losing weight, how to gain weight, how to maintain muscle mass. That was never a problem for me. throughout my years of training with strength training. But when I started getting into endurance training to compete in triathlons, I noticed a huge difference in my body and kind of how it was reacting and acting to different foods and what I needed to keep going further and further and further and further. So I had to do a lot of research. I had to kind of change how I was eating from a bulk strength training, maintaining muscle mass mentality to a keep fueling the coal train. I'll use the coal train, a train that used to feed on coal. I use that as an example. You know, you feed coal into a train and it's going to continue to run. It's going to continue to run. You pull that coal out or you run out of coal, that train's not running anywhere anymore. And it's going to die and it's going to stop on the tracks. Your body's going to do the same thing with endurance training. So you need to make sure that you're eating. You need to make sure that you're eating enough. You need to make sure that you're having plenty of calories in your body every single day to make sure that you're not going into a deficit and you can maintain your training plan all the time, 100% all the way through. Recovery. Recovery is critical to being able to continue to perform at a high level when you're operating in endurance training and you're becoming a triathlete. One of the biggest pieces of equipment that you're going to need is one of these bad boys. A foam roll in order to work out all of the kinks, the gravel, the rocks, and everything that's going to build up in your body, in your legs, in your shoulders, in your arms, in your back when you're swimming, cycling, and running. I'm 45 years old. I'm going to be 46 in December, and I can tell you what, this has kept me youthful and ability to push it to the limit every single day that I train and all the time. So I have, knock on wood, I have been injury-free all the way up to this point. I have not suffered any major injuries at all. I've been sore. I've had some tight IT band issues. But that right there, that'll fix a lot of those IT bands. So if you've never used a foam roller before, or if you've never used a percussion massage gun, I highly suggest you do some research on those, and they are unbelievably critical to making sure that your body's ready to go the next time you train. So in closing, again, I thank you guys for watching this video. If this is something that has reached you or you felt that you got something out of this video, hit the like button down below, smash that notification bell, and also subscribe to this channel because I'm in the process of documenting some rides, some runs, making videos for some of the meals that I eat and how I eat and what I eat on a day-to-day basis with triathlon training. So if you want to join this journey with me and you want to see what's coming up next, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.